Hello everyone, welcome to today's edition of Google Cloud Fundamentals Core Infrastructure Lab. For today, we are exploring getting started with cloud storage and Cloud SQL. Cloud storage is Google Cloud Objects Storage offering, and Cloud SQL is a fully managed database service on Google Cloud. Check out the link on top of your screen to learn more about cloud storage and Cloud SQL. Let's get started. For this lab, our task 1, let's start our lab. We open our lab in an incognito window. Click on next. Then we copy the password for our lab, which is this. Paste it here. Click on next. Yeah, I understand. Then here we are, agree and continue. So the next thing we want to do, we are done with this step. The next thing we want to do is we want to deploy a web server virtual machine instance. And to do that, we would go to our compute engine and virtual machine. So this is the name that we have to use for our virtual machine, and we'll configure this setting. Let's get started. So from the navigation bar, go to compute engine. Here we are on compute engine, virtual machine. Click on it. So create a virtual machine. It's creating our virtual machine. So we are going to name it blog hosts. This is the region we are supposed to choose. You can just confirm that ES Central 1, ES Central 1A. So we have this region here. We have to leave our machine family as the default. Any other thing we want to change. Okay, so this is using the Debian GNU Linux 11 Bose house. It's recommended for us to use this boot disk in this lab, so it's pre-chosen for us. And we are also supposed to allow HTTP traffic. Thereafter that, we want to set this automation script so that anytime we restart our virtual machine, it's going to run these 3 scripts automatically for us. So we'll configure that at this stage. So I'm going to add it in the automation script. This is not necessary, but because of what we want to do, I'm just going to include this script here to make it more easier for us. So that's all. After that, click on create. And our virtual machine is getting created for us. So you can see, let's just monitor it till it get created, finish. Can refresh this? Yeah, so our virtual machine is created. Nice. And you can see our internal IP address and external IP address here. So let's confirm if we've done this. Just going to check this. Yeah, we've done this. So, and this tells us to take note of our internal and external IP address. So I'm also going to take note of that. So the next step is to create a cloud storage bucket using the JSUtil command line. And the first thing we have to do is we have to first set our location. So since our region is in US Central 1, I'm going to use this location of US, export location to the US to be equals to US. So anytime I'm using the value of location, it will mean US. So let's go back. So because I want to save a copy of my internal IP and external IP address, I'm not going to cancel out of this. I'll just duplicate a new tab beside it and continue with the next step. So just allow it to load. Then I'll spin up our Cloud Shell by clicking activating Cloud Shell and continue here. So it's provisioning our Cloud Shell machine, and after it's done, it will connect to our Cloud Shell instance. So the first thing we have to do is to export the location as US. We've done that. The next step is to create a bucket with our project ID. So by default, this environmental variable, it's already linked to our project ID. So anywhere we have dev shell underscore project underscore ID, it's actually linked to our unique project ID. So I'm just going to use this code to create a bucket with the name of our project ID. Why we are using the name of our project ID is because our bucket name has to be unique, and we can be very sure that our project ID is also unique. So you can decide to use any name for your bucket naming, but just make sure that the bucket name has to be unique. So you may have to try it multiple times till you find a unique name. So creating our bucket with our project ID, I'm just going to authorize this. And you can see here that it has created a bucket with, this is our project ID. You can check the number is coherent to this. So the next thing we want to do is we want to retrieve a banner image from a publicly accessible cloud storage location. So there's an image on this location, cloud training. So we want to copy it to our cloud shell. So I'm just going to copy with this command. JSUtil is to copy, and this is the path to the image. And now we are naming the image my excellent this. So I've copied the image. So after copying the image, I now have to copy the image also to my cloud storage bucket, the one I created. So I use it with this command, and you can see I'm copying it from this part that I created here. So this is the new part, and I'm copying it to my cloud storage bucket, which is this. So this dev shell project ID, like I said, is the name of my cloud storage bucket, which is also the name of my project ID. So yeah, the image is copied. If you want to take a look at it, you can just go to cloud storage, you can search cloud storage, or you can just go from the navigation menu, anyone. So here we are on cloud storage. So when you can see, this is the bucket, the one we created, and when you click on it, you would see a file in the bucket, which is the my excellent blog.png that we just copied into it. So that's cool. That's the next thing. So the next thing we want to do is we want to set an access control list so that the bucket, the image in the bucket, can be accessible to all users. So just going to set, so this command is JSUtil access control list, and the setting is all users, and this is the path to our image on our cloud storage bucket. Yeah, so it has updated it. So let's confirm if we've completed this. Yeah, task also complete. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create a Cloud SQL instance. And to create a Cloud SQL instance, you have to spin up a database engine and spin up our Cloud SQL instance. So I'm just going to set the configuration that I need, and we get started. So I'll do, from the navigation menu, I'm also going to SQL. Here am I on SQL. I have to create an instance, and I'll choose MySQL instance. So for the instance ID, the lab tells us to use this name. For the password, feel free to use any password of your choice, but I'm just going to use getIn as my password. So the name of my password is getIn. Hereafter, any other thing. So let's see. The lab wants me to choose a single zone, so I'm going to select a single zone. Yeah, and after that, I'll spin up our instance. So I'm creating my instance now. Yeah. So you can see it's creating my Cloud SQL instance. I'm just going to wait for it to be complete before I proceed. It may take a while, but that's fine. I'll fast forward it and see at the end. My Cloud SQL instance is created, and you can see it took a whole lot of time, probably above 4 minutes. Yours may be shorter or longer. So I also have to take note of this public IP address. So I'm just going to also make a duplicate of this page while I continue. So from the instruction, the next thing I have to do is I have to add an user account for this, and the user account name is blog db user. I'm just going to go to the user from the left hand side and I click on add account. So the username, I'll also give it this similar password to what I use for the other one, which is getting. So I'm clicking on that's all, then add. So the user account is added, that's fine. So the next thing we have to do is to click on connection. So after clicking on connect, is to add network. So let me get the name and our network value. So the name of our network is the web front end, and our IP address should be the external IP of our virtual machine instance. So paste this here. So I have to get the external IP of our virtual machine instance. So to get that, I click on this, then I copy the external IP from here, then I go back to where we are and paste it here. Then I have to add a slash of 32 to show the ranges here. Then after that, click on done, click on save. So it's saving our connection to our database. So let's wait for it to get completed here. It may also take a while, but I'll fast forward it and see at the end. Yeah, we are done. We've connected this. So what's the next step? Let's confirm we've completed this task. Yeah, task complete. The next task is to configure an application in Complete Engine instance to use our Cloud SQL database. So for that, we have to SSH into our Complete Engine instance. Okay, so let's do that. So from the navigation menu, go to Complete Engine, Virtual Machine. So from Virtual Machine, let's SSH into our Complete Engine instance. So it's transferring the necessary keys and establishing our connection. Yeah, we're done. So I have to cd into this directory when I'm on the virtual machine. Yeah, so I've cd'd into this directory. So the next thing I have to do is I have to use a nano text editor file to paste some content on this server. So I have a web page on this server. So I have to open the nano parts. Here we are. So then I'll paste the code to the web page here and the necessary configurations. So here we are. So I still have to edit some values here to link it to our Cloud SQL database, but it's just good for now. I'm just going to save this. So to save, Ctrl O. After that, enter. To leave the nano, you can use Ctrl X to leave the nano instance. Yeah, we're done. So the next thing we want to do also is let's restart our web server so that it can pick the web page we have on our Complete Engine instance. I'm going to restart our web server. So we restarted it. After we restarted it, what we can do is we can now check if our page is live on the internet. So to check, we would see the external IP address that we created, and we are going to add an index.php to it. So let's see if it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this and paste it in a new browser. So don't forget that this is not the one that we are going to use. This is the one for the lab that was provided. So I'm just going to have to copy our own. This is our own external IP address here, and I'm going to replace the number here with the one for our own. So after you placing it, then I click on so you can see that welcome to my excellent blog, but the database connection has failed. It failed because we've not linked it together So we have to link it together on Nano Editor that we have. There are some configurations there that we have to specify to link it together. So the next thing we have to do is now we would open our Nano again and replace those configuration or those values with what is supposed to be. So to open our Nano Editor again, just the sudo nano index.php code. Then here is our Nano Editor. So under this part, this cloud is the IP address of the Cloud SQL database. So here is our Cloud SQL. This is our public IP address. I'm just going to copy it. So after copying it, go to the Nano Editor and replace this with that. So make sure you leave the code sign as it is. So likewise, we also have to change this DB password with the password that we used for our SQL instance. So I used getting as my password, so I'm just going to use getting here also. And I think that's all for now. Let me confirm. Yeah, that's all for now. So the next thing we have to do is to also save these values, and to save these values, Control O. After Control O, then enter. Then to leave the nano place, you have to use Control X. So we've left the nano. So the next thing we want to do is we want to restart our Apache server again with the sudo service Apache restart. Then click on enter. So after that, let's check if we can now connect to our database from the web page. You know, we've used the configuration that we are supposed to use now. So let's check. So click on this. Yeah, great. You can see that database connection has succeeded, which is cool. Yeah, great. So the next thing we want to do is we want to configure an application in a Compute Engine instance to use a cloud storage bucket. And don't forget that we saved an image. We copied an image to our cloud storage bucket. So I also want our website to pick from that image that is on our cloud storage bucket. So to do that, we have to copy the public IP address on our cloud storage bucket. But before we need to copy, we first have to cd into this and go to our nano once again. So just going to, so we've already cd into the environment that we are, but you can just do that once again. It takes no issue. Still going to do the same thing. So after that, also you open your nano. So with sudo nano index.php. So after you've opened your nano, we have to add the image, the path to the image in this place. And to add the path to the image, for those of you that are familiar with HTML, so when you're adding an image value or an image, the path to, when you're adding the link to an image, this is how you do it in HTML. So just above this, paste this image.crc. Just paste this image space src. Then after that, go to our cloud storage bucket. So to go to our cloud storage bucket, from the navigation menu once again, cloud storage, then bucket. So here we are. So to copy the public IP address, you can click on this, and you can see that this is accessible to the public. So if you did not set the ACL, that is the access control list, to all users, you would have difficulties, except you now make it public to the internet. So I can just copy the public URL here. After copying the public URL here, then I go back to my nano, then I paste the path to this. So after pasting the path to this, I have to add my quotation sign, single quotes. After adding the single quotes, I also have to close this. So I'm going to close this. Yeah, after closing this, then I have to save my edits in my nano. So to save it, Control O, enter, and Control X. So thereafter, we can get the next step. So the next step is also to restart our Apache server. So I'm just going to restart it with sudo service apache 2 restart. Now let's go back to our website and see if the image that we had on our cloud storage bucket can now link to our website. So on this, I'm just going to restart. I'm just going to refresh this rather. Yeah, Great. So you can see that now we have an image attached to it, my excellent image blog. And this is the same image on our cloud storage bucket. You can confirm by clicking on this image here. So when you click on this image, yeah, you can see this is the image here. This is also the image here. So I think that's all for this lab. Let me confirm. Yeah, we've done all this. So that's all for, you can explore more services or more labs on cloud storage and cloud SQL. So there are great things that you can do using your cloud SQL and cloud storage machine. And thanks for staying true. If you enjoy this lab, make sure you like it, comment your thoughts in the comment section, and share with your loved ones. Bye for now. See you in the next lab.